Good morning, everyone. I request all of you all to maintain silence. So all of you all must be wondering why you all are assembled here, and that too missing your first period. Most of you all must be also very happy, but we're here to discuss, to present, to introduce you all to a program that is part of our school. So we have a program that's called the Social Innovation Lab, and this has been running for a few years now. And this program is mainly for Standard 9 and Standard 11 students. We've had this program run very successfully last year too, again for Standard 9 and 11. So it is two separate programs, the same thing, but running for two different standards. So we'll be introducing the program to you all today and giving you all an opportunity to join the program, to be part of it. It's a wonderful opportunity for all of you all. So please make sure that you grab this opportunity. We have with us Mr. Vijay Alphonse, batch of 1990 ICSE, who was the coordinator last year for the same program. And we also have with us Ms. Roshni, batch of 2020-22 ISC. And we have Siddharth, who's a present student of 12th standard. And then we have Rishabh from 12C. They are presenting, and then we also have some of the students who will be presenting their whole idea of what they had last year. So I request Mr. Vijay to please say a few words about the program, his experience from last year, before we start off with the main presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Vasilia. Good morning, everybody. Everybody on top, awake? Okay, so first of all, I'm going to ask all the greenhouse people to raise their hand and say, yay, greenhouse is the best. All right, okay. Yeah, we're Josephites, right? It doesn't matter that it's nearly 30 years since school, but we're still the same, and the Josephite spirit still lives on in me. And my daughter also studied here in ISC, so super proud. So thank you for giving me a few moments, and I'm very grateful to the school for everything that it has given me. I'm really excited to see that this year the leadership of this program is being taken over by our students here, right? That is phenomenal. We have been running this for 6 years. I believe this is the 7th year in succession. And all the students who have participated in this have greatly benefited from the experience. They're going to take you through the objectives and everything else, so I don't want to steal their thunder. But I do want all of us to put our hands together and give them a round of applause for stepping up. Okay. To both of you, wish you guys the very best. And I hear that this year there are already teams that have been formed, topics have been picked, and the excitement is amazing. Okay, so keep that up, and you've got great leaders in both of them. So, go ahead, make a difference, put your idea out, and this is about making a social impact with innovation. Okay, so wish all of you the very best, and especially our new leaders. Back to you, Ms. Vasilia. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'd also like to mention that this program is an idea by Mr. Vijay Nazareth, and he's the one who has thought of this and made sure that this happens in our school, an old boy again. So I'd also like to especially thank him for making sure that all of this is working for you all. I'd like to invite Ms. Roshni to please start off with the presentation.
Hi everyone, good morning. So as Ms. Vasilia said, my name is Roshni and I graduated in 2022 from the ISC program. I'm currently in Hong Kong pursuing my undergraduate. So before I go ahead with the presentation, I'd like to give you guys a few words from Mr. Vijay Nazareth, who oversees the SIL program. And since he couldn't be here in person today, I'm just going to read out the message that he's asked me to relay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mr. Vijay Nazareth from the ICSE batch of 1978. I want to thank Roshni for sharing this message with you since I'm not able to join you in person. I also want to thank Father Principal, the Vice Principal, Mr. Robin, Ms. Vasilia, and all the other teachers, old boys and girls who have supported the SIL over the years. I'm also very appreciative of the SIL and SEEF leadership teams, including Siddharth, Disha, and others, for taking these programs forward. Let me take a moment to answer the question, what is the Social Innovation Lab and SEEF all about, and why should I participate? To answer this question, I'm going to ask you to take a pledge to create a fair and just society. Let's do it together. I pledge to work towards creating a fair and just society where all are treated equal and no one is left behind. Since you are students from SJBHS, and perhaps because of your background and your contacts, you are going to have inherent advantages in life. With these advantages comes the responsibility to give back and lift others up. If you do this, regardless of the path that you choose, you will find fulfillment and success in your career and in your life. I also want you to take another pledge to be a good steward of the environment. Let's do it together again. I pledge to do everything I can to preserve our natural resources, reduce waste and pollution, so we can live in a sustainable world. Now that you know why we created the Social Innovation Lab and SEEF, I'm going to turn it over to the team to walk you through the programs. Thank you for your time, and I wish you the very best. Okay. So that was the message from Mr. Vijay Nazareth, and I'm sure that all of you who have the chance to take part in the program will get to interact with him and get to know him. I'm going to invite Siddharth up on stage, and we can get started with the presentation. Good morning, Father. Okay, so Siddharth and I will be your coordinators for the Innovation Lab this year. I'll be coordinating the 11th grade, and Siddharth will be coordinating the 9th grade. Now, as we go ahead, I'm going to take you through the highlights of the program, what our expectations for you are, and the expected outcomes. Okay, so let's start with what exactly Innovation Lab is. Now, Innovation Lab is a social platform where you guys will have the opportunity to pick a social or environmental issue that you feel passionately about, and we'll give you the space to think up solutions and hopefully implement those solutions. So I'd like you to focus on the 3 keywords up on the screen. So a social innovation workshop, like we said, it's where social issues and innovation to these issues coexist. A team building exercise, because all of you will register for Innovation Lab in teams of between 4 to 6 students, and these are teams that you can pick, so you can register with people who you're excited to work with. And a solution hub. So think of Innovation Lab as this energy exchange. It's like the energy that you're putting into your solutions are going to very really impact other people's lives. And these are people who don't have the advantages that you do. Okay. How Innovation Lab works. So as I mentioned, each of you will be registering with a team between 4 to 6 students, and we'll give you guys a couple of days to think about the students who you'd like to register with. The team is assigned a mentor, and these mentors are students who have previously participated in the Innovation Labs, who have had experience, and they'll guide you through your stint at the Innovation Lab. The team chooses a topic to focus on. So as I mentioned, these topics can be social or environmental issues, and we have a broad set of categories which I will get to later. Each team completes the assigned deliverables. Now, to guide you through the process, we've outlined about 5 or 6 deliverables. So the first one would be choosing a project, and then the second one would be identifying the problems within your topic, and then moving on to solutions, evaluation, a presentation, and so on. And finally, the mentors and coordinators, who are Siddharth and myself, will assist you guys with developing your projects. So any questions that you have, feel free to come to us. The objectives of the Innovation Lab. Okay, so as I was, on my way to school today, a bit nervous because I've never spoken to this many students and had to keep their attention going for 30, 45 minutes. I was thinking about why I was doing it, right? So I was in your place once. I was a student, and this opportunity was presented to me, and I registered with my team and so on. And back then, my passion was environmentally oriented. Like, I was super excited to pick a project and to actually have the chance to impact people who are affected by this problem. And now my passion lies in recognizing that same excitement in you guys, which is why I'm here today. And through Innovation Lab, I've met so many amazing people. I've had the chance to connect with people who have expertise in various areas of social, environmental issues. And so, as I mentioned, we have a few broad project topics. So I'll go through them really quickly, at least some of them. So we have societal biases, which could be gender, race, and so on, food security, social media, environment and sustainability. And it's not necessary that your topics have to fall within one of these categories. They can, overlap. They can be something out of the box. We give you guys the freedom to choose your topics as you desire. I'll pass on to Siddharth, who'll talk about his experience at the lab.
Check, yeah. Hi everyone. So I'll talk about what do we learn in Innovation Lab and what kind of skills do we need in order to ace the Innovation Lab. So 3 things very, very important which are a part of the process is firstly design thinking. So design thinking means firstly not only creativity but also practical thinking as well as understanding whether it's feasible to implement or not. So all of those things, I think Roshni had mentioned about the 6 topics that we would have and any other topics which you all would choose. Out of that, when you choose a topic, you need to ensure that the solution for that problem is something that's creative, something that's possible, and something that's also scalable. So if you feel it's a practical solution, not an out-of-the-world solution, something that we can actually do, something that we can take forward not just from a competition or a presentation, but rather implementing that social change in real life, that is something, that is a problem you should be looking for. Ideation and prototyping. So when we have a solution idea, we should not just stop at the idea. We should rather take it forward, do some more research, and find out whether it works, make a sample out of it, get some surveys, and those other activities which we do beyond just simply thinking and brainstorming, that is the USP of Innovation Lab. And then the last part is implementation. And implementation, I think, is something that you all will enjoy. So after the Innovation Lab presentations are done, all of you, the teams that have won, the teams that have done extremely well, they will be encouraged by Social Innovation Lab to implement those in real life. And that has a separate process, but the implementation part is something that, again, my friend Joshua Gino is working on. He was the winner of Innovation Lab last year, and now he's implementing a project that he will come and talk about later. So it's a great opportunity to be a part of Innovation Lab. I'll talk about my experience in Innovation Lab. So I first participated in SIL in 8th grade, and I was a student mentor in 9th grade. And in 11th grade, I again participated in SIL 11th standard. And my experience in one word was fabulous. I enjoyed my time. It was about teamwork. It was about collaboration. It was about making memories. It was about learning new things. For example, presentation skills, teamwork skills, leadership skills, such things. For example, me standing here and speaking to all of you, I think the first opportunity I got like that was in 8th grade in Innovation Lab. And if, just like how the 9th graders over here, if you take up that opportunity of standing up and getting the experience of talking to a wide audience in such a young age, this will help you for a lifetime. And not just that, you make memories. When you have those late night meetings, when you take interviews of people, when you find extra details which might blow your mind, those things are part of the memories. These are a few pictures. So in last year's Innovation Lab, we had a skit. And in the skit, this is just, the first picture is just a part of the skit in which he was a traffic cop and the 3 of them were on a scooter riding triples. So our topic was traffic management and road safety. So we did a skit to show it to the audience. Audience loved it. And we showed this video once, the Rahul Dravid Indira Nagar Ka Gunda Hu Main video once, so during the skit, just to show more about how deep this problem is, how important this problem is. And later, we presented our solutions. And one of the solutions was this interview which we had with Pothole Raja. This is a person who fills potholes in very less time, in a matter of hours. And we had an interview with him, we found out how he does it, and we came to Innovation Lab and presented that solution. So such things, such out-of-the-box thinking can come if you're a part of Innovation Lab. But after explaining all of this, a very important thing is, happiness does not come by chance. Happiness comes by choice. So, it is important for you all to know that if you're coming to Innovation Lab, you're not just here for the experience, but you're also taking up some responsibility. So, some quality, so when you are finding your team, after this whole orientation, you will be sent a Google form, and you will have 2 days to fill the form. So, in those 2 days, you need to find out a perfect team. And what should a teammate have? A teammate should be reliable. It should not be someone whom you cannot trust. It should be someone who's trustable. He or she should be dedicated. Dedicated as in, it's not about having late night meetings every time. It's also about, if you're putting some time into a project, you need to put in your maximum attention into that. There will be other things that you will have. You'll have academic, sports, other extracurriculars. But you need to also be dedicated into this. The balance between Innovation Lab and all your other things must be maintained. You cannot ignore this. So, and the third thing is motivated. As long as you're motivated, you will reach to a good solution. If you're doing it just for the sake of it, if you're doing it just for a certificate that, yes, I can show it to my college, no, this is not the right place for you. If you're actually motivated to reach for that solution, you need to find a teammate like that. Suggestions that you need to keep in mind while formulating your team. Please don't use the prizes. We have very good prizes and certificates and all. So don't use that as your motivation to come. Don't use that as an incentive. Use the passion as an incentive to work. Choose your team very wisely, because one person in the team can also bring the whole team down. So you need to ensure that your team is something that can work with each other, complement each other. They are good with each other, compatible with each other. And so we will give you the opportunity to make your own team. But in case you aren't, you can also register individually, and we will form a team with all the individual people. So that's also not a problem. Apart from that, make sure that your team is such which motivates each other. And Innovation Lab is fun. It is a lot of fun. I have made a lot of memories, and I'm enjoying my time here in Innovation Lab, but it also requires dedication. So I hope you all keep that in mind.
Hello. Yes, I'll talk about the mentorship. So as I mentioned, each team will be given a student mentor to guide them through the project. So these, like I said, are people who've gone through the Innovation Lab before, so they'll understand, they'll understand the problems that you come to them with. And we also understand, because all of us are students as well, that sometimes you can't give your all into a program, and that's okay. That's why you have your team, that's why you're registering with a group of people, and you can carry each other forward. But one thing that I'd like to stress is that it's important that you let us know. Like I said, we're all students, we're very understanding, and if there's a certain deliverable or an expectation that can't be met, we'd just like to know beforehand to avoid any unpleasantness later. So the team can pick a team leader. Y'all can pick one leader, do this on a rotational basis, and have regular meetings with your mentor. And the mentors that we've picked will be available as long as they're free to guide you and to clarify any questions and to provide you with resources and so on. Yeah. And now we'd like to talk about the implementation potential of the program, because we believe that it's important that once you invest into a program like this, you have the opportunity to carry it forward as well and to see where your idea grows and becomes. So I'll invite Rishabh up onto the stage to tell you about that.
Hello everyone, I'm Rishabh from 12C and I'll be talking about SEEF. So SEEF is Sustainable Environmental Educational Foundation. It's a branch under SIL. So now, SEEF is a student-run program, as it's mentioned there, and it'll only be open for classes 11th. So basically, SEEF is the basis or avenue through which SIL's projects are implemented. Next slide. So under SEEF, we have 6 current projects. That is rainwater harvesting, menstruation, composting, nutrition, organic gardening, and solar dryer. So a point about each project. Rainwater harvesting deals with harvesting rainwater and uses of rainwater. Solar dryer deals with drying seeds or any farm produce to prepare it for sale. Next is menstrual health. It talks about menstruation and any effects and diseases related to menstruation. Nutrition talks about nutrition of every individual, but we mainly focus on nutrition for girls and young girls who are under, who are in slums and who don't have access for nutrition. Next is composting. Composting is basically the composting of soil, manure, etc., and creation of soil and manure. Next is organic gardening. Organic gardening is basically gardening through organic measures where the right seed, the natural seed, and the right fertilizers are used to promote proper growth of the plant. And now I'll talk about our 7th project, which Joshua Gino will now lead us on to. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Joshua from 12A. So I'm going to tell you about my experience with the SIL. Last year, I was lucky enough to be part of the SIL for 2 years, both 9th and 11th, and it has been splendid. So anyone who is interested in problem solving, who loves thinking out of the box and engineering in general, who are motivated to work for a social cause, this is the program for you. You will absolutely enjoy it. So firstly, there's the problem that you solve. So generally, you choose problems that are that all of us can relate to, like pollution, plastic, then there's potholes, traffic, and so on. And all of these are something that we can relate to, and we feel more personally attached, and we feel like we need to find solutions to these. We find a bunch of solutions, and then we look at all their viabilities. So the economic viability, how implementable it is, the feasibility, and all that. And at the end of the program, you come up with a 6-month plan as to how you would be able to implement it. And if it is practically possible, it might as well be implemented. In my case, we worked on a water drone, which collects agglomerates of microplastics using a chemical reaction. And one thing I'll tell you is, the more time you spend on it, the more research you do, the more confident you will be in your end product. And it's not all just Google and ChatGPT. It's way beyond that. We did research by going to professors at IISc, St. Joseph's University, and they love to see us come. They welcome us with both hands, and they'll come help us experiment. So we experimented with various chemicals. We went to the Alsur Lake with the professor, and they helped us find out which chemical was best for our project. And that way, you should go out to the field, conduct surveys, and all that is a fun aspect of Social Innovation Lab. You learn a lot about all this, even your mentors. Your mentors are great help. And then there's the teamwork aspect. So you have to work as a team, learn to adapt with each other. And now, then our last project was the NDVI, the drones. So then we, from our presentation, we now have a separate segment in the SEEF program called the NDVI drones. So we are already implementing it, and basically what this will do is it will help give us an index of different portions of the farm where more fertilizer or less fertilizer has to be applied, more irrigation has to be applied, and it basically increases efficiency of the crop. And the best part about all this is you can say that, oh, I'm working on a project that is being funded by external sources. That itself is an amazing aspect. So if your project is that great and you have a solid implementation plan, then there's no reason that it wouldn't be implemented. Here's the testament to that. And so I'd like to conclude by saying, all of you all, I deeply encourage you all to come into this. If you're, if you want to work for a social cause, and the journey itself is amazing. And I hope you all also have a similar experience to mine, if not better. And I'll hand it over to Roshni Kotari.
Before we get to the registration details, I'll just talk about what happens in an innovation lab from registration till the end, the presentation. So once you register, you'll have your teams ready, you will get some briefing, and after that, all of you will have to work on your first deliverable, that is the project plan. And that, the project plan is like the whole planner in which what each person is doing throughout innovation lab. So your team needs to talk about how you're going to plan, how much time can each person give, and all of that. And depending on that, you just make your project plan. After your project plan, you research about the problem. And when you do deep research about the problem, you find statistics, you find real-time data, that's when you get to know the big issue that this is. The problem can just be a one-liner, but if you do more detail on it, you'll actually understand how big of a problem this is. So that's the next part of your research. Then the third thing that you do is solutions. So after you have your problems ready and you know what's the issue, you can look for solutions. And the solutions part is the best part, because that's when random ideas come up. And at first it might feel like, really? But then slowly when the team starts building up on it, when the team starts brainstorming on it, it seems like, yeah, this is possible. So that's the third part. And then the fourth part is making an implementation plan. And when you make an implementation plan, that's when you understand whether your solutions, those random ideas, are actually possible to implement or not. Some will be possible, some will be out of the world. So the ones that are possible, you take that forward. And then the last deadline is the project report. And the project report is where you make an in-depth research about all that you have done in the last 3 weeks, about your problems, your solutions, your implementation plan, and your path forward. So these are the 4 deadlines. 3 of them are soft deadlines, so depending on your schedule, it can be flexible. The project report is a hard deadline, very important one. After you're done with the project report, you'll get ample time to have a presentation. And the presentation will be in front of your batchmates. So you can come and you can talk about what you have done. You can talk about your solutions, and there'll be judges. And of course, there'll be awards as well. We'll be taking 40 people from 11th standard and 40 people from 9th standard. So registration, you can talk about it.
So the registration form will be sent out to you in a couple of days, because we'll give you a few days to, assemble your teams and think about whether you really want to join it. And as Siddharth mentioned, it's 40 students from 11th, 40 students from the 9th grade, and these 2 programs will be run separately, side by side, but separately. It's a first-come, first-served basis. So the first 40 people to register will be put into, with your teams, will be picked. And for those who register but don't get in, we'll have you on a wait list so that if anyone drops out, we'll let you in. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the project itself. So like Siddharth said, he briefly outlined, the stages that you'd have to go through. And one thing that's important is that the initial project topic that you pick is not the same thing that you have to see through to the final project. Like, you guys can go back and revise as you learn more. You can make modifications. When I participated in the SIL in 11th grade, I remember our team, we started out with water conservation. Like that was the first, that was the topic we chose for, picking our problem. And then our team ended with a project on menstrual health. So it was two totally different things. But, we just, as we researched, we went back and we refined and we changed. And then we got to see that project actually being implemented in SEEF, which is one of the best feelings, when you have this thought or this idea or this expression and then you see it make real world change. Okay, so the sign up link will be sent to you guys through your class teachers, like I said, in a couple of days. And we'll open the floor for questions. And before I sign off, I just wanted to say that Innovation Lab is fun, it's hands-on, it's experiential, and this year it's yours. So I'm really excited to get to know you guys. So my contact information is up on the screen, but I'll have your teachers send it to you as well. So 11th graders contact me, and 9th graders, you can contact Siddharth for any questions that you have. But right now, if anyone would like to ask a question, please go ahead. No questions? Come on, guys, we've allotted like 10 minutes to questions.
Hello. Yeah, regarding the funding, what do you mean by external sources of funding?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Regarding the funding part, what did you mean when you said external sources of funding?
He's asking, what did you mean by external sources of funding?
Check. Okay, this is Vijay here. I don't know who asked the question. Okay. So based on your, okay, hold on. Let's get the sound tuned, new mic. Okay, cut the bass a little bit if you don't mind. Thanks. Okay, so based on your project, if it is something that is found to be implementable, viable, and will produce enough of an impact, then the Old Boys Association, as you know, is very strong across the world, right? So I'm sure we'll find somebody who works somewhere who will be able to help you implement that project, okay? And if you need some sort of funding, we'll try and connect you with an organization that's in that space, right? So you can work as an intern with them, and in turn, they will automatically fund the project. So that's one way of doing it. Any other questions?
The 9th or 11th?
Okay, if there are no other questions, so there's a message. Students, boys, girls, there are a lot of questions, okay. Okay, he's fixing the mic, but just hear me out while the mic is being fixed. What number is that, the mic? A, B, C, D? Tell me, I'll relay it. A. Mic A. Okay, it's on.
Okay. So my question is that during the presentation, or when we go up top and we do a presentation in front of everyone, what is going to be the limit, like the time, and what is going to be the presentation on? Can we do whatever we want, or does there have to be like a specific thing that we have to do? Like, can we do like a skit, anything that we want, or does there have to be like a set of rules which you have to follow?
So for the final presentation itself, the only thing we want you to do is showcase your ideas to us. So it can be in whatever form you like. Like Siddharth said, they did a skit. We'll be giving you a time limit. I think 15 minutes per team plus questions. But apart from the time limit, there's no real constraints. You can present, however you see fit.
Any other questions?
Yeah, there's one question.
Just stand up so the mic can come to you. Yeah.
So you said that CEEF will implement our projects. Is it only for 11th grade, or will our projects be also implemented?
So the projects can only, the 11th graders are the only ones who can be involved with the projects for CEEF. However, we are trying to arrange a field trip for the 9th graders to visit the CEEF farm. So we have this farm in Hoskote where, the projects have been implemented. And after you finish the program in the 9th grade, you can get involved, just not in the actual implementation itself.
Just stand up in your place so we know.
Oh, excuse me. Will our project ideas be like reserved? If I have a same project idea like someone else, would it be reserved? Because I told before them.
No. Everyone gets the freedom to pick their own project topics. But in the past few years that we've run SIL, there have been a few overlaps. However, the solutions to the projects have never been the same because, of course, each team is coming up with, their subtopic and their solutions. So that's usually not a problem at all.
In fact, just to add to what Roshni just said, and that's a very good question, by the way. One of the key objectives of this program is to encourage critical thinking, okay? And what that means is there's more than one solution to a problem, okay? So if 2 or 3 groups pick the same topic, okay, then that's fine because there will be different solutions, like she said, and we encourage everyone's opinion and everyone needs to be heard, right? So as a group, when ideas come out, take everybody's ideas because you'll see that there's 3 or 4 different ways in which you can solve a particular problem. And on topics, Father Principal just whispered in my ear, he had to go for a meeting. But, what he encouraged me to share with all of you is that 2 things. One is all of this begins at home. So in school, you need to segregate your garbage, okay? So if you have recyclable wastes, look for the appropriate bins and drop them in. Okay, don't just throw it in any trash bin in the school. Okay, so that's one. 2 is plastic is a huge problem. Okay, not just in school, but in general. So as you are thinking about the topics that you want to pick, okay, look at things that could implement or rather impact the use of plastic and reduction, okay, in your day-to-day lives. So that was a request from Father Principal, so I'm just conveying that to you.
Okay, thanks. Oh yeah, go ahead.
How long do we have to prepare for this project?
So usually the lab spans about 8 to 10 weeks. And like Siddharth said, some of the deadlines are hard deadlines, like your first one, the one where you pick your project topic, we'll need that as a hard deadline. So maybe about a week to 10 days after the lab begins. And then the deliverables in between you guys can adjust. So, if you're busier one week, then you can make up for it later. And the final report will be a hard deadline as well. So usually 8 to 10 weeks, depending on the school schedule with exams, holidays, and so on. But it's mostly flexible in terms of internal deadlines. It's flexible for you guys.
Thank you.
Oh, there's another question behind.
Hi, Roshni. Thank you so much for introducing us to the program. I was wondering if we could know a bit more about the project you undertook last year, the final one. on menstrual health. How did you go about that one?
Okay, so yeah, I'll just give you guys a quick thing. So like I said, initially our topic was water conservation, and then we looked into pollution of water and so on. And as we went down the rabbit hole of pollution, we fixated on the menstrual health of women in India particularly, because we realized that, a lot of women don't have access to menstrual health products, and even if they do, those products aren't sustainable. So our topic sort of spanned a few broad categories, like it delved into wealth inequality, into sustainability, and so on. And we had two aspects to it. So the first thing we wanted to do was to educate. So we ran campaigns in underprivileged schools and introduced, girls below the poverty line to these products, such as like menstrual cups and so on, anything that doesn't use plastic. And right now we have students who come to the Hoskote farm, to the field trip, and we educate them, and we're looking to provide them with sustainable alternatives as well. And the thing is, this was a very tricky project because of the stigma that came with menstruation. Like with a lot of these girls, it's not something that they can talk about at home with their parents, in school, and so on. So it was that. It was like fighting the stigma, educating them, and educating them about sustainability, with non-plastic products. Yeah, any other questions? Okay, if that's it, we'll wrap up then. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to seeing some of you in the program this year. And please feel free to reach out to us with any other questions. Do you have a question? Okay.
Check. Here, you.
So over the years, what is your personal thought on how it's developed throughout the years, and what do you feel that could be some key points that will be like in the next few years, or how it will develop to be better?
Okay, that's a really great question. Okay, so firstly, in terms of the lab itself, it's very different from when I took part in it in 11th grade, because it was a lot more rigid than I'd say. Like the deadlines were harder, we had a lot more work. Like alongside the project that each team was doing, we also had case studies for them to do every week on like various different things, disabilities and those kinds of things. So I remember in the year I did it, a lot of people were a bit overwhelmed with the workload. So that's why we cut down, we restructured, and so on. In another aspect, I feel like the students that have come in since I was in the lab are a lot more motivated, a lot more passionate, and just a lot more resourceful in general. So I've really seen the complexity of the projects increase. Like, students focus on a particular topic now, and they have very clear ideas on how they want to go about solving it and so on. Whereas when I did it, it was a bit more general. Like, we just focus on, the main, like pollution, and you know the drill. So I think it's developed as students have developed over the last years. And I'm really excited about, the way that it's going now, because I see a lot of potential, like in the new batches of students coming in. Okay, I think we'll sign off for today then. Like I said, my contact details and Siddharth's contact details will be shared with you guys, so don't hesitate to reach out. And good luck for the lab and for the academic year in general. And thank you for your time today. And I also wanted to say thank you to Vasiliacha for organizing today's program, to Siddharth, Joshua, Rishabh, and of course to you guys.
Okay, thank you, Roshni, and I hope that we will have a very good response this year. I would actually like to make a note that last year we had about 76 participants from the 11th grade alone, and the registration was much more. We could only select 76 in the end, but this year we've brought it down to 40 because obviously we want people who are also very committed to the work. We don't want you to just join and leave at the